Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Citizen Live at 1. I am Terry Ann Chibet. Now, Lamu County Governor Issa Timami has been freed on a 20 million shilling bond and a similar surety or a cash bail of 5 million shillings. The High Court in Mombasa dismissed the prosecution's application to have Timami detained for 14 days, arguing that he would influence ongoing investigations in the case against him. Timami was arrested in connection to the killings in Peketoni, where over 60 people died.
Monday morning, Lamu County Governor Issa Timami appeared yet again before High Court Judge Martin Muya. The judge was due to rule on the prosecution's case that Timami be detained until his case, where he is accused of murder, forceful eviction of population and terror, be heard and determined. But it would be a morning of reprieve for Timami, who was arrested last Wednesday. According to the judge, the prosecution had not presented sufficient evidence for Timami to continue being held. The governor was therefore released on a 5 million shillings cash bail or a bond of 20 million shillings with a similar surety. The prosecution had applied to have the governor detained for 14 days to prevent him from influencing investigations in the case against him, arguing that Timami was a flight risk. Timami was arrested in connection with the Peketoni attack, where more than 60 people died. He is now scheduled to appear in court on the 16th of July to answer to the charges leveled against him. Timami claims that the charges are meant to intimidate him and has denied any involvement in the killings. Esther Kahumbi, Citizen Live at 1.
Governors have asked the national government to review the budget allocations to counties, saying that the recent budget was too little to run the county administrations. The national chairman of the Governors' Council, Issa Kruto, accused the national government of misleading Kenyans that counties were given 43% of approved government revenue by the national government, while they were actually allocated only 22%.
Several governors, led by their chairman Isaac Ruto, are now asking the government to review budget allocations to counties, saying the current allocations are too little to run governments. Ruto, who was accompanied by Nandi Governor Dr. Cleophas Langat and Kericho Governor Professor Paul Chepkorny, said that governors are demanding dialogue with top Jubilee officials to demand the increase so as to provide quality services to Kenyans.
Shida hii yote inaweza tatuliwa tukihakikisha mfumo wa devolution ukatuzi umefaulu. Sababu kwa miaka 50 tumekuwa na nchi moja inaitwa Kenya. Lakini tunaokota kila kitu tunapeleka Nairobi. Wanatengeneza budget, they read to us a huge budget. Baada ya mwaka mzima tunaambiwa wanasoma budget ingine.
The governors also asked the national government to hold talks with CORD leaders, adding that the interest of Kenyans should come first before the interest of political parties. The governors hinted also that they are united and are ready to serve all Kenyans, irrespective of their political affiliations.
Sisi kama magavana hatujakubali kugawanywa kufuata maneno ya vyama. Unajua magavana ni marais ya sehemu yao, unabeba wote.
Federal government wawajane na mambo ya kusema ati wabie powers deputy governors. Governors ilichaguliwa na wananchi na governors walitafuta running mates. Kwa hivyo haiwezekani hiyo.
The leaders were speaking at a function in Kurkung Boys High School in Nandi County.
Professionalism.
Evelyn Omboy, Citizen Live at 1.
South Africa is the continent's most advanced economy, but the country is also home to one of the largest crime rates in the world, which is largely blamed on a large army of unemployed youth, as well as a yawning gap between the rich and the poor. Anne Mawade was in South Africa and reports on the country's struggle with the vice.
When a cyclist in Somerset West, South Africa, was confronted by gangsters stealing his car keys, mobile phone and his bicycle. They missed one thing, a GoPro camera that recorded the incident. It has now gone viral on the internet, magnifying the deep-seated crime problem in the Rainbow Nation, which is home to some of the most dangerous cities in the world. Cape Town, for instance, was listed in a 2013 study as the 20th most violent city in the world, with 51 murders per 100,000 people.
Yeah, you must fear Hebrew. Hebrew used to be bad. Man, you don't have to trust Hebrew. Hebrew is not a good place.
Hillbrow is just 1 square kilometer in the heart of Johannesburg, and it is one of the most feared neighborhoods. And those who know this area will tell you that this is the place where dreams are made or broken. Johannesburg, according to the 2013 study, is the 4th most violent city in South Africa, and it is home to Hillbrow, with its lethal mix of criminal activities that range from drug trafficking, prostitution rings, armed robberies, amongst others. Here is one man who knows Hillbrow and the potent danger it conceals in its high-rise buildings. And so he prays. Thanksgiving. It is the place he nearly died when he was shot and left for dead by gangsters. He takes us through the streets of Hillbrow, the familiar places he once terrorized residents from the tender age of 10.
It's quite strict, this one. Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Our journey ends at this gym, which is set up to rescue the young from the same streets that threatened to consume his childhood. A punch at a time. He does this every day for 6 days. His love for throwing punches started when he was imprisoned at the age of 16.
You know, in prison, if you are a man, let's say a newcomer, they can want to sleep with you, other guys.
Okay, so they were asking for sexual
favors from you? Yeah, so that's why I started to fight them.
He says he managed to shield himself from being sodomized while in prison, and when he left, he wanted to reach out to other young people in Hillbrow, and his gym is full of young people, restless, mostly men trying to ward off the temptation of engaging in crime.
On the street, we were just chilling, smoking drugs, taking the phone from the street, robbing cars. Like, there's a thing called ipomo, ne? That thing called ipomo is like when you park your car here, and I bring that thing called ipomo, put straight to your windscreen, the windscreen is going to blast. Bah! After that, I'm taking something from your car after I'm running to my park.
With more than 2 million gun holders licensed to own firearms and about 1 million unlicensed ones, experts warn violent crime has reached worrying proportions.
It is important that, and governments don't do this enough, is that when they're looking at a crime problem, they don't only think about strengthening the criminal justice system, because the criminal justice system is a very blunt instrument. It only operates reactively. Once someone's committed a crime, then you arrest them, then you bring them to court, then you lock them up. And that's a very tedious and expensive process.
The Rainbow Nation is now lambasted as the rape and murder capital of the world, with a growing gap between the rich and the poor, and youth employment soaring. Crime is finding fertile ground in the inequalities.
In South Africa in the last 10 years, we've hired almost 70,000 more police officials, but we have a shortage of 50,000 social workers. And now we've seen that although crime came down initially, we're at a point at which the police are not able to bring crime down anymore because the conditions that are contributing to that crime problem haven't been addressed.
The social issues alluded to by those we talked to are everywhere in Hillbrow. These kids, for instance, all under 15 years, claimed they were chased from school due to lack of school fees, and they congregated here to, well, pass time smoking bang. Their parents were not home. They said, "So what are you doing here?"
We're just smoking.
Smoking?
No.
Smoking what?
Just chilling.
No, they are smoking ganja. As night falls, the streets of Joburg light up, concealing the shame that has been consuming many of the cities in South Africa. The rising crime rates vis-à-vis the growing gap between the haves and the have-nots. Is solving social inequities the solution to fighting crime? The jury is out.
The Samburu County government has begun livestock breed improvement programs to help local pastoralists and farmers change their stock into more productive ones. The project has kicked off in Samburu East constituency of Samburu County.
Samburu County relies heavily on livestock production, but until now some of the livestock breeds in the area have been of low quality. According to the County Chief Officer John Lenareo, the cattle breeds found in Samburu County have been poor milk producers and the cattle there could not withstand drought that is common in the area.
Since this breed is good for, it can be able to resist drought, it can also increase the milk quality and also the meat quality.
Lenareo has urged the locals to embrace and keep the new breeds of cattle, which is not only drought resistant but also has a higher growth rate and produces more meat and milk. The county government has brought a total of 100 bulls and there are plans to increase the number in the next financial year.
I think the project is very sustainable to our community. So hopefully the community will benefit and they are going to see the changes.
Marion Kisoso, Citizen Live at 1.
Now, Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero is now urging his CORD alliance to back off its planned mass action to force President Uhuru Kenyatta and the government to convene national talks. Kidero says the planned action could destabilize the country and scare off investors. Francis Gashuri brings us those details.
It is less than a week before the lapse of an ultimatum issued by the opposition team CORD to the government to convene a national dialogue conference to deliberate on key national issues, but not all CORD leaders are in support of the threat of mass action if the government does not cede ground on the national dialogue demands. Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero has advised his coalition boss Raila Odinga to explore other means of raising key national issues with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
I don't think mass action will give Kenya the results that it wants. Yes, we must have discussions. We must discuss issues that are pertinent to our development, that are pertinent to our peace and security, but it must be done in a civilized manner.
Kidero, who was in Yimbo Village, Bondo constituency for the burial of Martin Okello Awondo, urged his coalition bosses to use parliament and other government structures to present the issues they have raised, including the state of the country's security, implementation of devolution, and disbandment of the electoral body IEBC.
In parliament, we have Senate, we have parliament, and even as Kenyans, as leaders, we continue to meet and talk. And let's continue to meet and talk. But let's not involve us in activities that will impact our economy negatively.
But CORD Alliance lawmakers who attended the burial in Siaya County backed the planned mass action on Monday if the government fails to convene the National Dialogue Forum.
Parliament is not a house where you dialogue. It's an exclusive arrangement where you only have elected people. And what we're talking about dialogue is a matter of involving many more other stakeholders that you can't have in Parliament. So this is a matter that must be looked at very seriously.
The best for the nation in these circumstances to have the president quickly invite the CORD to a table so that we can discuss the issues that we have so far raised. The insecurity levels in this country now is impossible.
The government has insisted that no dialogue conference will be held to discuss the issues raised by CORD and urged the opposition leaders to channel their grievances through Parliament, with President Kenyatta welcoming opposition chiefs Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka and Moses Wetangula to State House whenever they have issues to raise with his administration. Francis Gashori, Citizen Live at 1.
Residents of Kagio, Sagana and Kibingoti trading centres in Dia constituency will benefit from a public lighting project that they hope will help fight crime. Dia Member of Parliament Stephen Gare launched the 3 high-mass floodlights, which are expected to provide a massive boost to local community policing efforts. Speaking during the launch, Gare said that the lights, which have been acquired at a cost of 5.1 million shillings provided by the Constituency Development Fund, will also boost the economy of Ndia, as they will enable more people to engage in business activities even in the late hours of the night.
One of the things I would like to see is the town being lighted so that it can have 24-hour economy. So this is the first beginning I'm doing. And I will start from here, Kagio, and I'll move to Sagana. I'll do the same. Then I'll move to Kebigoti, which is also another trading center.
Citizen Live at 1 takes a short break now. We'll be back with more right after the break. Don't go too far.